Hi everyone, my name is Heather and I'm the person behind Happy Puppy Truffles. Today I wanted to share with you guys a way to take some traditional origami and put it on display on a board called a Shikishi board. And these boards are really commonly found in Japan. We use them for paintings, for calligraphy, and also a lot of times you see them for displaying origami projects. This is a great way to showcase a piece of work and make a nice gift for somebody if you want to. And since we're in the middle of spring now, I wanted to do something with a water lily. And I just kind of took the traditional water lily and made a couple of adjustments to it here so that we can kind of make a cool display. You can see the base flower here in this really pale green or yellow green in the background. And then I just kind of added a tiny bit of darker green to kind of represent the leaves that you see on the flower. And then put a little bit of other paper in the middle for the center of the flower. So it's just kind of a fun little way to make things a little bit more 3D. And then I have my board here, and it's just a standard board then with some handmade paper on it, and kind of to look like sort of like a pond with a little green edge to it. And just going to put a couple of them here. Sort of an abstract sort of display. But I made one here, like I said, in a paler kind of yellowy color. And then I thought I'd make a pink one too, and I'll show you guys how to fold it. And then you use these smaller pieces here for the outside part of the leaves. And then I'll show you how to make this little interior piece here too. So let's just first start off with the steps of making the water lily. And you know, if you want to watch the original origami video, I have that as well, but this is just to kind of show you guys how to fold this with this paper. Now this is just taunt paper that I'm using here, and then I'll be using some handmade paper that I had that I liked the color of for the other parts. So what you want to do is start off with, if there is a side that you want to call the front, you want to have that facing down. And then I'm just going to go ahead and fold my paper in half, both vertically and horizontally. And it's nice to kind of try to, you know, use this kind of paper that's the same color on both sides, because you get a little better looking flower that way, I think, than, you know, having white on the inside. But we're going to fold each of these four corners into the center. This is called a blin base, or the zabuton base in Japanese. Zabuton is a cushion that you sit on when you sit on the floor, and so it kind of looks like a cushion, you know, with the bean square shaped. Once you've folded all four corners into the center, do it again with leaving it with these flaps still on top. And this can be a little tricky. You want to keep everything as flat as you can when you do this, and try to smooth out your edges. I'll just go around and do all through four sides here so we can get a completed square. And then once you finish that, flip it over, and we're going to do those same steps one more time. And this last step can be a little tricky. If you're doing this project with younger kids, this part might be a little hard, and you might want to help them out a little, because it can be really heavy with all of this paper. And you want to try to keep things as smooth as you can so you get good creases. We're going to pop everything open when we're done and smooth things out anyway, but this part can help. If you can kind of try to keep it as smooth as you can, it's good. Just be careful not to get snagged on these little edges here, but you should have something then that looks like this. Now what we want to do is take this little part that you see back here, and I'm going to reverse everything. So kind of let things open up for a second here, both of these two sides. Pull this up, and then bring everything back down in. And you should get this little bit here that sticks out like a petal. And you could kind of smooth it out so you get a good smooth edge if your paper kind of got a little bumpy. But that should give you a nice rounded area for your petal. And then you're just going to go around and do those same steps for the other three sides. So you kind of have to open things up, get this part to come all the way out, and then you can kind of recrease these edges, get this part smoothed out. Especially if you're using like a thicker paper, like taunt paper or construction paper, you want to make sure you get a chance to smooth those petals out as much as you can. So just keep going around, try to keep everything nice and clear at the tips, and get the whole thing opened up here. So you can get a good kind of feel for our flower. So you have the 4 petals here, and this part, you know, does kind of have a tendency to pop open, so you do kind of need to get good creases. And then we're just going to open up these flaps from underneath, and that's going to create that extra layer for the flower. So you've got this whole area here now with the bloom in the center, and I just sort of visualized this as being more like the leaves or the greenery, and then we can kind of work from there. So I've got the little pieces then to kind of put on here to create the illusion of like a leaf area behind the flower. And this is just 1/4 the width. My paper was 15 centimeters, so this makes this 3.75 centimeters about. And it's okay if it's a little shy. You know, I don't think you really see so close to the edge. What we're going to do is glue it so that it comes up right up to the edge that you do see. And this interior part, you know, is not going to be as visible. So we'll just take a little bit of paper here to make sure we don't get glue everywhere. And I'll put a little bit of glue on one of these. And then I can just slide that right on here. Like I said, just line it up on the edge that we see right here on the outside. To get a nice completed area there. So we'll just do that for all of these sides. So once you get all those, you should have something that kind of looks more like this, with these petals in the middle and the kind of green area. And then I've got the extra piece that I'm going to put in the center to create the inside of the flower. And what I did is I just took some paper here, and this was, how big? Let me see here. Need a ruler. I think it's 6.5 centimeters. And what I did was, I've already kind of cut it here, but what I've done is I just take it and fold it in half into a triangle, and then in half again. And then I just want to kind of cut so that I get about 1 centimeter here on both sides. So I'm just cutting a little tiny triangle out from the middle. And then when you open it up, you should get kind of like a plus sign. And I'm then just going to kind of trim it off at the edges, and I don't want it to be super tall, so just a little shy of where that point is. Just a little shy of that gives us a good size, because you don't want the center part of the flower to stick out too much. And then if you just go ahead and first give a good crease right at the edge here, and go around and do that for all 4 sides so that you can get this piece where that'll kind of stand up and give the illusion almost of a box with the 5 sides there. And then I'm just going to cut these flaps and create some fringe to create the part that's on the inside of the flower here. So for example here, you can just kind of randomly do it. I tried to keep things as thin as I could, but I have really good scissors. I think it depends on the kind of scissors you're working with too, you know, and you know who's making the project. You know, if it's some kids, you probably want to make it a little bit fatter. You don't want to hurt anybody, of course, cutting this, but we're just going to kind of go through cutting straight up to that part where we folded to create the kind of box feel for things. And you don't want to use paper that's too flimsy, because when we try to fold it up and try to put it inside, it's going to, you can run the risk of, you know, having things tear off and stuff, but you just want to try to create the even little bit here. And, you know, it's not so serious if it goes beyond it or whatever. It's just meant to be kind of organic feeling. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. And then just push it in again here to give a good little feel for the center of everything. So we get a little kind of bit of kind of like grass standing up in the middle there. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on it. And what I do is I try to line it up so that the, you know, like a diamond shape, so that this part here where there is nothing lines up with where this part comes in. So you're lining diamond to diamond essentially. So I put a tad bit of glue on the back here. And then I can go ahead and open up in the middle and get this in here. as close to the center as I can. And then of course, before you close everything off, just give this all a good little pinch again in the middle. And this can be a little tricky because, you know, some little pieces tend to kind of get stuck down, or it may not all cooperate the way you want to. Play around with it a little until you can get the feel of things the way you want. And you should be able to get a flower that looks something like this. And then we can just go ahead and place that on our board. And this is where you can kind of just have fun with it, put wherever you like. You could also, you know, put little lily pads if you wanted to do that. I wanted to kind of just accent this color of the green that we see here. This part can be a little tricky because you can't like just flat out stick it on something and put glue on it. You do need to kind of hold it in your hands while you do this step. So try to kind of have a good grip on it, and really the main part, you can put a little there, but you may not even get any on it. The main part where the glue is going to hit is on the green flaps that we made, on the underside of those. So put your focus on getting the glue on there. You can, like I said, put a little in the middle if you think it might get there, but don't worry about it too much. And then I'm just going to kind of choose the placement of this in a little random way. And you should be able to get this part to kind of lay down and create a little flower. So, you know, it's just a fun little way to take a really simple traditional origami and maybe make it seem a little more realistic. You know, sometimes origami, you know, people are like, that's a rabbit origami, and then you look at it and you're like, I can't see how that looks like a rabbit. I have always thought the water lily origami was a little confusing, but, you know. And I'm just going to kind of randomly get this on here too. And you can kind of work on opening things up or getting it smushed in a little bit more, but just kind of have fun with it and create this cute little display of these water lilies, which is kind of our finished project for today. I have some more fun projects to share with you guys in the days to come. Thanks again always so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.